Okay, so I think everyone kind of has heard stories about the promise of AI in a lot of different industries, right? You know, it's going to revolutionize things or really change things. This can change the world, man. So, is there a lot of promise in AI, and what industries are really going to actually see the serious benefits of this? So I think that you could break this up into sort of different levels of impact. Like AI adoption in business in general will for sure have like lots of productivity gains and speed gains, stuff like that, efficiency, what have you, right? But I don't necessarily see it as such a big impact across normal businesses, because in the sense that there may not be much actual innovation that's happening. It could just be a matter of job replacement, basically, right? It's like, okay, we're using the AI to do the same thing that we were doing before, just with computers instead of people, right? So it's like, yeah, the businesses will be faster and leaner and more efficient and more productive, but they'd still be like delivering the same products, right? Now, especially digital products, some products are going to have more of the sort of focus on integrating integrating AI into the actual product. So like for the traditional businesses, they're basically using AI to increase their productivity, whereas the digital businesses are actually putting the AI into their product specifically, and the AI becomes part of the product at this point still. So that's sort of a key difference there. And then when AI is actually part of the product, there's different things to consider, right? Because now that AI-driven product could, in theory, not necessarily in practice, but in theory, it could be the case that this is now a new product. There's actual true innovation going on still. This is a thing that could not exist previously, and now it's here, right? I think that's definitely where the interesting things are happening. Now, when we get to the point where, obviously we're seeing the AI adoption into the products happening on the digital space now, and we're just starting to see the beginning of putting the AI into physical products, okay? So as that goes on, I think that's when we're going to really start to see the big jumps in innovation, where there are new or existing physical products that are integrating AI into it in new and novel ways. So yeah, that's basically how I'm seeing that. The majority of like traditional businesses, they'll adopt AI into their business practices. They'll get, leaner, more efficient, faster, stuff like that. And then we're going to see sort of this evolution from AI on the product side of things moving from mostly the digital space into the physical space as well. And this can obviously take different shapes and forms. We can be looking at things like embodied AI. So that's like robots that have AI in them. And then we can also be looking at things that are just everything. I guess like we've seen some early stage ideas, that little pin, for example, right? The personal pin, more wearables that are AI infused. Obviously the phone will probably remain the backbone of that connection for a while, especially since a lot of the AI processing is offloaded to data centers, so that requires a network connection. We'll see AI in more kids' toys for sure. Education, sort of, physical, tangible objects there. Yeah, I mean, it's be everywhere. it'll become really normal really fast, I think, too. But in the next 5 years or so, like, AI won't even be a buzzword anymore. In the same way that like the internet is not a buzzword anymore, or the personal computer is not a buzzword anymore, or even the the mobile phone is not a buzzword anymore. So yeah, it'll die down over the next 5 years and become normalized. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what that kind of what that looks like, at that point. So, I guess depending on your situation in particular, let's go through some sort of examples here to see how you could adopt AI into your business or into your digital product or into your physical product. So if you are running a business, this is really straightforward, and you're not looking to integrate AI into your product. You just want to leverage it sort of for the back office, front office type of stuff, right? So, I mean, you start with the basics there, right? Got some customer service, easy. Right now you can use a chatbot, you can use a agent that can speak and listen over the phone, and depending on the level of complexity that's involved with that customer service, I mean, this is a done deal. This they've already solved this problem for you, right? So there are commercial products you can pick up and go off the shelf, right? Now, to get into more complex stuff on the back end, so let's say like inventory management, we can see AI analyzing your inventory, identifying like insights and analysis in general, but I mean, you could also have it sort of like to fill out sort of the details of your inventory that's missing. Now, this would be a cool idea still. This is all on the back end, but let's say you've got a robot that has like computer vision and the ability to like wander around the warehouse, right? And it can actually go and verify. It can do inventory for you, basically, right? So it can go verify the inventory physically as well as digitally, right? And make sure that those things match up. And that's a boring, time-consuming, not high-impact task for a human, right? So it makes sense to offload things like that. Obviously people using it for advertising, right? So their marketing campaigns, coming up with ad copy, generating images, videos, all kinds of stuff in the marketing space using AI for sure. Legals, right? So looking over contracts, generating contracts, finance, balancing the books, like looking over your spreadsheets, helping you generate formulas, helping you get better organized, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think of stuff that I've personally done at this point. So, I've done the finance stuff, I've done the marketing stuff. I haven't had to do much inventory because I don't typically work with physical products, but that could change in short order. There's one project that I'm working on called the Zenden, which is it's a big physical product, and obviously it uses AI in the center of it. But right now, actually, what we're trying to come up with figures for a 36-month projection on how manufacturing would scale, right? So I have been using AI to develop that sort of the spreadsheet for that projection, and now we're trying to figure out what the scaling costs would be to scale manufacturing from 3 units a month to 10 units a month, basically, because they're big units, right? And they cost about same as a car, give or take. So yeah, that is I mean, at some point, everything is going to be able to be automated, and the models and the tooling and all of that will mature enough where you can basically run the show by yourself, more or less, right? Or better yet, you run the show not necessarily, like, you know, you can do it by yourself if that's what you really want, right? I guess depending on the business too. But what I think it really gives the opportunity to is to almost like work with either like your friends or like people that you really want to work with, and only those people, right? So let's say like if I was an entrepreneur just starting out on my first business, right? And let's say, you know, I had a few creative friends who had really great ideas, but they weren't necessarily like highly skilled individuals, right? Like they didn't know how to code, or, you know, they didn't know how to work Excel, or, you know, like just like they were, you know, really great for creative ideas, a lot of energy, a lot of inspiration, but not necessarily anything like not nearly strong on hard skills, right? So in the past, you would have to sort of like, you know, say thanks but no thanks to those, you know, friends or associates, and probably go out and hire people who would be suited to the specific skills that you needed. And oftentimes that would mean hiring people that you might not necessarily get along with super well, or just it's a very neutral sort of relationship, right? Okay, the person shows up, they do the work, and then they leave, and, you know, you pay them or whatever, right? And that's been pretty much like every business, you know, because it would always be a dangerous thing if you hired people who are like your friends, or sort of like a more close associate, or for the reasons of like, you know, creativity and energy, as opposed to, you know, tangible skills and productivity. Now that kind of changes still, because let's say you have this like 100x force multiplier from AI, where, you know, now you've got this AI, you're, you know, 10 times faster and 10 times less people, and, you know, 10 times cheaper and all that, right? So you could just stick with like your two buddies or whatever, right? Who are really creative, have lots of great ideas, and then you guys work together with the AI, and you get the AI to do all the grunt work, more or less, right? So that, and then you guys could be happy and successful. And I think that's a sort of a cool thing that we're going to start seeing. I hope we're going to start seeing more of that still, because it's a lot more fun to do a fun creative business with your friends together than it is to sort of work alone only with robots. You know, would you rather work alone with robots or work with your friends with robots, right? Because if you could do it by yourself, you know, what changes by bringing in your creative friends who have lots of energy and good ideas? That's just going to be a benefit for you, right? So yeah, that's a cool new thing. I think that we'll start to see more and more of. I know there will still be lots of solopreneurs who will be really empowered and you know, do a lot better with the AI compared to before. But then, okay, so let's get back to these digital products still, because I think that's where we left. So we talked about how like a physical product sort of business that doesn't have AI in the product but is using AI to help run operations and things like that. So now about actually embedding AI into the digital products. So, I mean, an obvious big market segment for this is creating sort of AI-driven products that go to serve the needs of those other businesses, right? So creating SaaS products that are using AI to help solve a business problem. Tons of those still. There's going to be tons more of those that show up, right? I think education is also a big one still. So I've been doing homeschool with my son for a while, and you know, we've been using AI to help him learn things and to give him a sounding board when I'm not available, you know, and that's been working really well. And we're using local models for that, so they're privacy respecting, And yeah, I mean, that's just really, really basic, you know. But you can go so much further with that still by creating agents that have all of the information about the student, all of the information about each course, you know, connected to the internet, connected to databases, whatever, able to generate, you know, image and video and speak and listen. You could have an amazing education experience with that. You'd love going to school every day because you'd basically be going to school every day with the best teacher ever, learning things in a way that's specifically personalized and suited to you. And yeah, you'll learn faster and learn more and learn better. Now that being said, I don't think that that's a full replacement for the kind of interactions that kids get at school, right? So it's very important for my son to go out and play with other kids in the neighborhood, for example, right? To have the social time with other kids. And, you know, he plays organized sports as well and does martial arts. And then, yeah, also to give them more exposure to responsible adults as well too, right? So whether that is, you know, in a normal school setting with teachers or sort of, you know, friends of family type of connections there. So education, yeah, that's a great digital product. So entertainment, obviously AI is having big impacts on the field of entertainment. So I talked about creativity already the other day, but specifically about entertainment, I mean, again, it's so much about speed, right? So I had this idea for a screenplay like yesterday, you know, in the morning, and by the evening I have a 2-minute trailer with, you know, crazy amazing videos, exactly of the idea that I have, right? Now let's take this a step further. Let's say I extrapolate this screenplay idea into a 3-book trilogy and a three-part movie, a movie trilogy, a book trilogy. I convert it into a comic book series, multiple comic book series. I do a Western comic book, I do a Japanese style comic book, right? And then turn it also into video games too, right? Because the AI can code, right? So I can take the visual assets from the comic books, turn that into a video game or a series of video games, right? And then I can use the AI to, you know, do the website, generate marketing material, connect with possible fans, and yeah, just go from there. So, I mean, I'm not just saying these things, I'm actually doing these things too, right? So at some point in the near future, I'll be releasing pieces of this idea. Either, I'm not sure which angle to go for it right away, if I should build the lore entirely first before going for it, or just like, I don't know, start a Kickstarter with the trailer and a loose plot summary or something, right? Maybe a little playable demo of a game. But these things can be done in short order, right? Whereas previously I might have had to spend a year working on this project before launching. I would probably spend a month on it before launching, and that what I get done in that month will probably be better than what I could have previously gotten done in a year. So it's crazy, right? And I do think that there is a window of opportunity here, in the sense that this is not always going to be this way. But I could be wrong. Maybe it will always be this way. I don't know what the trajectory is going to be of people who have all of these opportunities to learn better and faster. And then also the benefits of, like, you know, breakthroughs in science, you know, stuff like nutrition and medicine, right? Because that makes people happier and healthier and smarter, right? And more productive and moving faster. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if, like, everybody gets on board and, you know, everybody's just making their own stuff, or will it be that there's still a creative class and then a consumer class? I don't know if everyone's going to become a creator, because, you know, it will just be so easy to execute on ideas that people will just do that. Or will some people just sort of stay the same? What are they going to teach kids in school like the other kids? Yeah, lots of questions anyways. So exciting times. I think that's all for today. We'll see you in the next one.